Welcome to In Full Color 2020.
Welcome to In Full Color
Welcome
2020.
To In Full
Welcome
Color
to In Full
2020.
Color 2020.
In a divided world, we are all struggling for a means of connection.
Today, you will, for one moment, be one with a mother.
Be one with someone rising from the ashes of abuse.
Be one with someone perhaps much like yourself.
Or not like you at all.
These beats of metal, electricity, and code in front of you today is not a screen or a machine,
but a portal in someone else's world.
A world we share together.
Find captions on screen or text transcripts in the chat.
There will be a Q&A and talk back after the show.
Submit your questions using the Q&A feature at any time.
Titles, authors, and trigger warnings will be displayed before each piece. Sit back,
relax,
enjoy the show.
I have not been honest. I have tried to talk about this over and over, rehearsing the words in my mind, always focusing on excuses that are not real. It wasn't the right person. It wasn't the right time. I was already with someone. The fact is, I was scared. I first knew I was bisexual when I was a child. At 6 years old, a friend who presented more masculine than feminine gave me pictures of naked ladies in the playground of our Christian school. I hid those pictures in a special chest of drawers. Eventually, I felt such shame over those pictures. The fact that I wanted to look at them. In tears, I gave them to my mother, told her my friend forced them upon me. I lied. There were other incidents, attractions. In every situation, I lied to myself. I was going to every bar in Boys Town, the queer neighborhood in Chicago. I told myself, it's because the music's better. And it was, but that wasn't the only reason. I felt safer in gay clubs, accepted. I rejected any boy who put me in a feminine box. And my eyes lingered on girls, later women. I told myself, it's because I like their style. I pretended I didn't like hetero porn because it was too violent. And it was, and is. But I rarely looked for pictures of naked men. I preferred the sleek Calvin Klein ads I had pinned to my wall. I did and do like men, but I was clearly different. Confused, searching. Sometimes I'm still confused. Writing helps. When I wrote my first screenplay, it was about two girls who were devastated when one had to move away from the other. I told myself, it's about friendship, and it was. But I also knew it was about intimate love and loss. In my deepest center, you can see the truth and fear. Fear that if I admitted I was bisexual, I would lose.
Everything?
Everything. My parents already ostracized me because I was a feminist punk. And I played music that hurt their ears so much they didn't bother to learn the lyrics were literally what they themselves said every night at the kitchen table. My brothers hated me because I was a girl. Most of the families at church shunned me because of my ripped clothes, and most of the kids at school were afraid of me. My closest friends, they accepted aspects of me. but sometimes even they would say homophobic things. If I admitted to them I was bisexual, wouldn't I lose them too? I buried it so deep. I didn't even think there was anything to admit. I lost myself and found myself in culture. I can recite any John Waters or Gregoraki film. I know every scene in The Hunger and every song in Yentl by heart. It isn't until now, at nearly 50 years old, it isn't until now in a hetero-queer marriage, it isn't until now, one parent dead, the other too old to maybe understand. It isn't until now, tenured, and for the most part economically stable. It isn't until now I can allow myself to finally see why I was always in queer spaces. It isn't until now I finally feel safe enough to admit why. I am bisexual. Now the shame has changed. Now I'm ashamed I didn't have the ovaries to admit it sooner. To brave the ultimate rejection, the ultimate danger, that of death. You think I'm lying. So many of us admit these truths, and we are completely rejected by our families. We die homeless, on drugs, worse. These dangers impact Black and Latinx women the most. Women like me. I wanted to live, so I hid. And I'm sorry for that. But I don't know who I'm apologizing to. Myself. Yes, I'm sorry. 6-year-old Grisel, who felt dirty. I'm sorry, punk teenage rebel Grisel, who, let's face it, wanted a girlfriend. I'm sorry, adult Grisel, who was homeless in New York City. I'm sorry you ever felt you had to hide yourself from yourself. Now, I go to pride events. I bought 2 flags, the original one and one specifically for bisexual folks, okay? There's this one event I went to. Oh my God, it featured Nina Flowers, La Latina Puertorriqueña from the first season of RuPaul's Drag Race. Oh my God, she was DJing. I saw a former student there. It was a wonderful moment. She was there with her girlfriend. They were happy to see me. And then a hater came into the room, started spewing nasty things in the chat, calling us all crazy. Everyone answered with so much love, they drown out the hate. But you know, it's funny, I could tell that the hater was lonely. I mean, he wanted to be there, but he didn't know why. He couldn't just enjoy it. So he had to hate? Imagine how long it will take him to realize who he is, if ever. It's never too late. I mean, it can be. You don't want to die never having been honest with yourself. But as long as you have life, it is never too late. Don't hate yourself or anyone else. Love yourself now. You deserve it.
Mamá vive adentro de amamantar. La palabra un sustantivo y un verbo a la vez. Algo que solo la madre puede hacer para su hijo. Darle de su cuerpo, alimentación única y natural, esencial para vivir y crecer, darle de su mente y energía, atención y dedicación. Y de su corazón fluye un cariño, como un río, y se traduce en la fuente blanca y eterna que sale de sus senos. Una extensión del amor y cuidado de cuando vivía dentro de ella. Pero esta labor materna no se aprende a solas. Se requiere de la experiencia de una madre ya hecha, transformada por el acto de ser un cauce para sus hijos. Alguien que ha sentido en sí misma el deseo profundo de alimentar de la manera más íntima, aunado con el deseo de hacerlo. Y con sabiduría y fortaleza, decidió sacar a su hija adelante, lista para compartir su conocimiento, derramándolo gota por gota, por gota, por gota. Y por esto se encuentra mi querida madre junto a mí, acompañándome y ayudándome a no ahogarme en los mares mamarios, asegurándose de que mi bebé esté bien prendido, moviendo mi seno y su boquita, enseñándome a extraer la leche manualmente por primera vez, masajeando y apretando mi piel hasta lograr gotitas y chisguetes, quedándose despierta, bebé en brazos, dejándome descansar, preparándome para otro día de dar pecho cada 3 horas. Mientras mi bebé me devora y me deja vacía de leche y sueño, mi madre me renueva con su compañía, su constante atención y apoyo. Me vuelvo otra vez la hija que necesita su cariño y amor. Y ella se vuelve a dedicar a atenderme con un abrazo o una cena recién hechecita. O simplemente con quedarse con mi hijo para que salga de mi casa y respire hondo. Que me acuerde de quién era antes de adoptar este nuevo papel de madre. Antes de volver a inundarme en el océano de emoción con este niño tan hermoso.
I threw a heavy hit. He swung and took a miss. I wrapped my arms around him, expecting one last kiss. He brushed me off and went along his own way, as I sit here wondering why till this very day. I said, baby, come
9 years old, in a dusty kitchen, I am sprawled out on a metal table and altar. Woman in a house dress, face mask, and no gloves dips a scalpel in a bowl of muddy water. I asked my tante why we don't get a party for my circumcision like my brother did. She said we don't get a party. The celebration is our bodies. Once circumcised, we remove what stops us from pure. Once we cut out what may let an intruder in before marriage. The woman opens legs, pushes vaginal lips, carves and cuts away my clitoris. Auntie says,
It feel better now?
a sharp pain stabs me between my legs. The doctor pushes brown medicated gauze inside me.
Don't you feel pure?
I use the last of my upper body strength to move through the edge of the seat so my blood doesn't pool in the dark of the taxi cab on the ride home.
Don't you feel free?
I cry. I'm unable to move for days because I lose all the feeling in my legs. I don't know when the blood stops and the ointment starts. I don't know when pain pauses and healing begins, especially since they look like one another, especially as they seep into each other. Last year, CNN calls Auntie's celebration female genital mutilation. The gauze between my legs becomes a banner for the pity party in my body. A country I was never supposed to step foot in gives me words for what was never supposed to happen to me. So I feel obligation. Invite America in. White reporters and saviors pour in by the dozens, breaking everything in sight. I ask, why are you ruined everything? They say,
America.
I ask, who are all of you? They say,
America.
They take photos and write thought pieces on this function. Say the music is too exotic. Say it reeks of blood. Say whom needs to be removed from her own search party because every girl at these events shows up dead. I'm confused. I'm still alive. I've just been pushed to the back corner and no one else sees me, so they call me ghost. I ask why. They say,
America.
I cut the lights. Stand on a coffee table. Chau, you thought finishing one of my sentences gave you the right to crowd the dance floor and block the entrance? Tearing this down will not keep me alive. I know this is far from a happy occasion. It was a surprise I never wanted. But the women before me brought me here, not because they died with me, but because they lived with me on after this. So I will still dance here. I will still raise a glass to myself. I will stay even after the music stops. I can easily uninvite my guests, the way you easily call my people terrorists, a threat to your white purity that you had to cut out, or victim, woman, depending on whether or not you pry our legs open. So see your way out. And if I do, I will let you in. Do not write me off as obituary. I'm still here, celebrating.
Being a child is suffocating. It feels like I'm a mannequin and my parents have become corporations shitting on me with the latest diabolical fashions. And I'm not talking just clothes. As children, we come out of the room already powerful and ready to unleash. But child just becomes a chastity belt without your consent. You are a boy becoming a man. This is what a man should look like, my parents always used to say to me. Showing me pictures of Busta Rhymes, 50 Cent, Jay-Z, the kingpin across the street that represent that real gangster shit. I remember them asking, but what about Lil' Kim, Lauryn Hill, Missy Elliott, Queen Latifah, the lady at the corner, don't they represent that real gangster shit? You know, the pop of my parents' hand still lingers in my chest to this day. These moments have given me asthma, permanently twisting my lungs. I could barely run, I cannot succeed in running while hearing the words, "You need to run like a man." Chronic anxiety is always stuck in my chest. I cannot push myself or attempt to jump the jack without hearing the words Fruit Loop and Sissy looking at my muscles. I'm still learning how to breathe again. I get chest pains when people look at me with looks, confusion, disgust. Like I poisoned unborn children with the switch in my hips. I'm always hearing questions, discussions, TED Talks, submissions about my being ripping me apart like a hot cross bun.
Are you a boy or a girl?
What's with the damn
Why do your
sweat?
pants look like that?
Why are your lashes so long?
Stop walking like that.
Your shirt is too damn
You're
tight.
built like a linebacker.
Get yourself
You
together.
should play football.
You're gonna grow up to be a
You
man.
gotta be like your father.
You're a black man
Stop
in
with that
America.
gay shit.
Your manhood needs to be protected.
Stop fucking pussyfoot.
Man.
Man
Man
up.
up.
Man up.
Am not a man. Stop calling me a man. I'm a child. I may not be a boy, I may not be a girl. Regardless, I'm still a child. Can you fuckers just give me time? I may die tomorrow because you are suffocating me. Your noose, your chains, your shackles, your foot, your knees are crushing my neck, blinding my path, pissing my ancestors off. Mom, Dad, I'm still a child. I don't want to die. And then you put me on that $500 suit for the North store, knowing good and well I had a nervous breakdown because I had to behave in front of the pastor. I don't want a personality that represents the Walking Dead, or a personality that Trump will attempt to like. This is why people become liars. Because sometimes when it's the truth, the decolonized truth, the Black, queer, transgender truth, it won't be accepted. But gender is a process. So can I have my fucking process?
I have been doing some research trying to give what I feel a word. I found there's an atlas of emotions, so let me play this game. Disgust, that's the first group, and you can break it into several words. I dislike what I see in humanity right now. I feel revulsion towards conscientious ignorance, and I loathe politicians that add to its fire. I disapprove of the reckless narrative. I take offense at unprotected health workers, and I am horrified by the climbing death toll. The lack of accountability makes me uncomfortable. Every time I think those are our leaders, I get nauseated and then disturbed when I think some agree with them. Eventually, I withdraw from all of it. I avert from watching the news and reading the tweets.
Anger. That's the second group. It's mostly directed at those in power. I am annoyed at the size of their egos. I get frustrated that no one actually confronts them. I get peeved listening to their words of hate and their hate speech. It's contrary to every lesson history has given us. I am left bitter when they don't take responsibility, and infuriated at the lack of compassion and empathy. It irritates me what they say between the lines. It's maddening how little they think of their people. And then I feel cheated because people rally for them. And it's just, I feel insulted personally by their sheer stupidity. And then I feel vengeful and wish them the illness they discredit.
Fear. That's number 3. It takes over anger and speed. I am worried about the future, all of ours, and doubtful that will mend the widening gap, and of course nervous at what that would mean. Anxiety takes over everything I feel. I am terrified by this sense of helplessness, the panic that crushes every future plan, and I feel horrified that I can't protect everyone I love. Desperate to find answers among a sea of questions. I try to do the research to find them, but I am left confused and stressed by our inability to walk together.
Sadness kicks in 4th place because I feel there's no hope. And how lonely all this makes me feel. Heartbroken that we haven't learned from the past. We could try, but it's hopeless. I feel gloom over every single thing around me and disappointment that we got ourselves here. Grief takes over me. I just mourn something that I can't name. Unhappiness floats around me like a haze. I try to walk through, but I get lost. Troubled by the sick, the struggling, the dead, resigned that it would be me or my friends, my family. Miserable at how unable I am to change course.
I stay there for a while. Sometimes an hour, sometimes a day, sometimes longer. The world keeps moving, sick, coughing, and feverish. It moves. Enjoyment comes to complete the atlas. Slowly but surely, I remember I've survived before. I find happiness in my beating heart. Its beat carries everyone I love. You all beat within me. There is relief in knowing I still inhabit Earth. There is compassion to all creatures with whom I share the honor and contentment at the sheer scientific beauty of the universe. I am amused by how little it takes to make my dog wag its tail and the trusting peace contained in my cat's purring. The immense pride I feel at my brother's work as a doctor, and the excitement I feel when it's he who calls. Healthy, breathing, and alive. The inextinguishable joy when I look into my partner's eyes is accompanied by the satisfaction of knowing we found each other.
We are still alive. We're still here.
There's time. There is time. We can change course.
We can do better. We can get there.
We are stronger together, and we are bigger than our fear.
Yes.
And welcome back, everyone, from the cast of In Full Color 2020. That was our show. Thank you so much. Everyone, give it up for our amazing performers. Show some love in the chat. I know we can't all hear all of you clapping and waving, but we are so excited. Everyone, give it up for Grisel Acosta, Eloísa Pérez-Lozano, Anna Gichan, Naja Gordon, Chau Hoang, Dena Igusti, Glennifer Breaker, Daniela Rincon, Duana Cherise, our technical director and performer tonight, Rescue Poetics, and our assistant technical director, Crystal Davis. Everyone here has been so amazing. We have been working so hard on this, and we're so excited to share this with you. Oh, and me, I'm Summer Don Reyes, and I'm the founder and director of In Full Color. Thank you so much, everyone. Look at the love in the chat. Look at that. So we are going to do a little bit of a talk back. So I know because this is a webinar format, sometimes that feels a little less like you are in the room with us, but please show us your questions in the chat or just some feedback. I'm gonna read some of the comments because I wanna make sure that our whole cast hears all of this amazing love. MJ says, amazing work, everyone. Kitty says, yes, you are all amazing. I can't see everyone's full names in the chat. That's so annoying. There we go. Max says, woohoo. Joe says, great job, everyone. I'm guessing all of your voices right now. I'm going to do impressions as I imagine your voice to be. Jenna Stewart says, woohoo. Alicia Wright says, bravo. MJ claps. Look through all this. Emily Sierra, this is an amazing and powerful night. So amazing. Jenna Stewart called us all her beautiful people. I feel very good about myself now. We decided we wanted the hoop earrings and the lipstick and stuff for the chorus, so it's paying off. The choice is paying off. Grisel's got her hoop earrings too. Tantra showing us massive love and respect. By the way, some of the amazing people in this chat will also be performing tomorrow. This event is not over. We still have one more show and it is totally different. So if you loved tonight, definitely come by tomorrow and see 6 more stories. It's going to be really amazing. So I know Tantra and Kitty and Jessica, a bunch of people. If I'm missing anyone, sorry, it's because I'm like going through the chat here. And there's just so many wonderful people. I see so many friendly faces in here. Mind blown. Great job. Amazing. Thank you. Kitty likes my impressions. That's very good. Oh, Rukaya. I love Rukaya, one of our alumna. Yes, it felt like being in a theater, right? It feels so good. So please, if you have any questions or just like things you want to say or wonder about any of the pieces, you can drop them in the chat. And while you're all thinking of your deep and exciting philosophical inquiries, I want to ask our cast, just how has like your view of your story changed in putting this together? And there's a lot of us, but we're a pretty small group, so you can just unmute and respond. But how has doing this changed how you see your story? It's a big question.
Well, I can go ahead and start since I'm already unmuted.
Yes.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for all the love. I actually, I think that when I first wrote the monologue, I was coming from a place of like not being able to say all of these things when I was younger. But then as I said it over and over again, I realized, well, you know, it seems like there are a lot of like friends from high school who, you know, actually were pretty understanding of who I was, and even though my parents didn't quite understand me back then, I do think that they definitely were supportive in many, many ways. So I think like part of me was kind of maybe not feeling as harsh as when I first wrote the monologue. But that's okay. I still think that the monologue stands on its own for anyone who's, you know, having that issue. So, and by the way, it did take me almost 50 years, so it had to be written.
You did it in your own time, and that was the right time for you. It's National Coming Out Day, I think on Saturday or Sunday. And so I was like, yo, this is so perfect. I hope someone hears this and feels like inspired to live their true life. Would anyone else like to answer this question? You could just come off of mute. I'm interested.
I can go ahead, talking a little bit about my piece. I think when I first wrote it, I kind of had a hypothetical of the people who I was reacting to, in terms of like, it came out of a sense of just frustration, specifically to media outlets and like colonial media outlets, of like discussing FGM and using it as a way to like justify Islamophobia and xenophobia. And that's kind of been my main person. But I think especially through working with Summer, and like I've been more aware of like how many people I'm reacting to and the other people that I am actually reacting to. I am also reacting to family who has hurt me. I am reacting to like the Becky and the Karens in the room that like hug me and cry, but then they say some like really ignorant BS to me in like this sense of liberation. Like I think I just became more aware of the people that like have hurt me, and kind of realized subconsciously who's also hurt me, like, and also what led to this piece.
Thank you, Dena. Thank you for sharing that. And your piece is, everyone is so brave in sharing their stories, but I do think that it's a poem we hear, like a subject we hear less about. And it's really wonderful to have someone not just also confronting it or parading it as like, oh, this happens to women, like you're saying, but also saying like, wait, but how are we criticizing this, you know, how are we critiquing this practice? Is it coming from a place of xenophobia? And I think that's important in a lot of ways, because every culture has some form of misogyny in it, you know, and we're all working in all our cultures to confront all of our culture's misogynies. And, you know, tradition is not precedent for abuse to continue towards any marginalized group. But it's certainly, you know, noticing another culture's misogyny is not an excuse for you to be racist or xenophobic either. Because also people in glass houses shouldn't. Yeah, I'd like to see this culture that has no misogyny, that is like being really hypercritical, because that's not really that cool, but maybe I'd want to live there. I don't know. How not misogynistic are they? I think Daniela wanted to say something. Did you want to say something?
Yes. So it's, for me, it was when I wrote this, I mean, I've been, as we all have been, up and down the last few months. And when I wrote this and I showed it to Summer, because she that's how our relationship works. I write things and I show them to Summer. When she told me she wanted this to be a piece that I would share with other women in the show, it made so much sense to hear my emotions in someone else's voice. And I think Susan and Duana and Summer, it was really emotionally liberating to hear you give my emotions voice. It was really soothing and sisterhood, and it felt absolutely amazing, and that made me feel less alone, even though I know you're all there. But just going through this with you, it's been amazing. So thank you.
That's wonderful. I had another question for everyone, which I think a lot of people are asking anybody who's a creator, who's doing something virtual. You know, like, what was the most challenging thing about working virtual, about taking your art and figuring out a way to share it through this medium? What were your challenges, or what did you learn that was like interesting? I feel like I want to hear from Chau, because she made a whole damn music video. She kind of like did it by accident too. Like, I was like, hey, does anyone have stuff? And if you saw our newsletter, we have a Behind the Stories series where we interviewed each person about their story. And in her piece, she told me, I didn't even know this till we did that interview. And she was like, yeah, you just asked if people had stuff. And I was like, maybe I'll write a song, because I love music and I'm a singer and a songwriter, and I'll do it. And then she took this poem, made it into a song, and then was like, oh shit, it's in the show. How do I do this? And then made a whole music video and added some dance and did all this stuff. So like, what else, are you accidentally gonna do, Chau? What other brilliance will you accidentally create?
Here I am trying to be a wallflower and not talk. But is my mic on? Can you hear me? Okay, cool. Yes, so basically this was a happy accident. Summer hit us up, the alumni, and was like, hey, if you guys have something to submit. And I just didn't feel like I had anything to submit when you sent us the first email. And then I think you sent us like, this is the last notice. You have 1 week. And I'm like, maybe I'll try to do a song. Meanwhile, like, my relationship with Summer, the first show that we've done together, I did a monologue. So she's only known me as an actor. And singing is not something that I just show publicly. So I took this as a challenge creatively, that if Summer accepted my piece, then maybe I have something worth sharing. So it started off, inspired off of this poem that I wrote over 10 years ago. And I thought like, I'll just make a little ditty bop, all good. Only to kind of realize that it unleashed a lot of deep rooted emotions and anger and grief that I didn't allow myself to experience. So ironically, this has been a very cleansing, emotional ride. And I'm so happy that I was able to do this and share this with everyone. And so much love to all of you and the cast. You inspire me. All of the hard work that you put into it and the love. Now I'm getting emotional, so I should probably stop talking. I love you guys.
Thank you, Chau. Thank you for getting emotional. My goal is really just to make women cry. That's empowering women. I really want to just make them cry. No, I'm kidding. In a very, very wonderful, good way. I want to hear a little bit from Glennifer. Glennifer, I saw that you posted an adorable picture of you as a baby, just shortly before the show. Can you tell us a little bit, we've been talking so much about your piece and how important it is to just really stand up for and allow, Black trans kids to be. So tell us more about the little baby Glennifer that is on Instagram. Follow her, y'all, so you can see the cute baby picture.
Yeah. Well, bird to the piece. Suffocate.
I can't hear you that well. I don't know if anyone else can hear you.
Volume is like a little low.
Yeah, maybe bring it closer. I like how you snapped, like you're like, computer work now. I didn't know that was the secret.
How about now? Okay. So yeah. So referring to the piece "Suffocate." So yeah, I wrote that. So I wrote that piece. If y'all, as I did the interview with Summer, I did discuss that. Like, yeah, I wrote this piece. For a class one day. It's for a women in gender studies course, and
I still feel like you're a little far away. I want to hear you slowly. Sorry. Or you could just speak louder, maybe. I don't know.
Right. So, is this okay?
Yeah.
Okay. So, yeah. So I wrote the piece "Suffocate" based on my experience as a child, because the course was about girlhood, and I was thinking about like how does trans women relate to girlhood, and I started to unpack for myself all of the bullshit that I had put myself through, and I've just dealt with as a child, like, you know, my upbringing, living in Jersey City, dealing with all of these cause society has dealt with me because I am a black child. Yeah, because I am a black child who was assigned a boy, who had to face all of this not necessarily toxic, but all this masculinity I just cannot relate to, and all of that stuff. And I'm a very spiritual person. All I wanted to do was like be a good person and like be fully endowed, in my in spirit, and the fact that I'm hearing messages about my being ripping me apart. The fact that I'm hearing that and they're like, because I am the way I am, I'm going to hell, or hearing those messages, it was like I had to spend so many years just like detoxifying. And honestly, when you're a trans adult, you don't think about your childhood. You sometimes it's like it's different for everyone, but I know for me, sometimes I'm like, I don't want to talk about that, and da da da. So Suffocate has pushed me to really connect with my inner child, and my inner child was fucking angry. My inner child was like dealing with so much rage that was ancestral, that was communal. I'm sure so many trans women, even those who we see on TV, have felt it at some point. So I feel like this piece is really, really important to all of the little Glennifers out there who is at that breaking point.
Thank you. Alicia Wright said, was it cathartic for you to do that piece?
Cathartic.
Like, was it healing? How did you feel after?
Oh, yeah. Hell yes. Like, it's after the fact, it's really, really hard for me to like sit down, process what just happened, because like after I perform it, my back started hurting. Like I have emotional, my body has a really intense reaction whenever I perform it. So I had to sit down, relax, take a deep breath, all that stuff, stretch, sing a song, stuff like that.
Thank you. And I think that's also really important to note, is that all of these people created their pieces and they're performing their own work, and which is great because it's so authentic and it's enjoyable as an audience member. But it's also important to remember that these are issues that have affected each of these women's lives, repeatedly, continuously. And I've spoken with a lot of you in the interview portions about like this thing that you are addressing and trying to find healing from in the piece isn't necessarily over, right? Like, for example, you know, Grisel was like, yo, 50 years, I'm bye, everyone, bye, I'm bye. But she's always going to meet a new person who didn't tune in today, who isn't going to see a recording, and she'll have to, you know, drop the hints and then eventually be like, yes, I think that because I'm bisexual, you know, like you're continuously coming out and everyone's continuously going through this. And that's why it's important to advocate for women, advocate for trans women, for women of color, because we are just, you know, these are just 6 stories, but these are just 6 stories from people going through this. There's thousands and thousands more, millions more experiencing the same things. I want to hear from the lovely ladies who created our first completely Spanish language poem and dance. So Eloísa Pérez-Lozano has her soothing voice reading that Spanish. I know a lot of you were like, wait, what's going on? What does it mean? There is a transcript available. And Crystal, if you could share the link in the chat again for anyone, just so they can feel it out. Crystal's on top of everything. Look at Crystal and her green hair. So first I want to ask Eloísa, tell us a little bit, because you wrote this poem in English and Spanish. So what was it like kind of really exploring your like artistic, poetic Spanish side?
So before I do that, I want to apologize because I did not mean to be late in my intro. I was watching.
You weren't, no, that was planned. That was planned. Haha, tricked all of you 26 attendees into thinking that that was late. It was actually planned. Continue, Eloísa, in your very authentic fake out. Continue.
But yeah, so I speak Spanish and English. I write mostly in English, and so once I became a mom, I just had a lot of more experiences to draw from, and one of those was breastfeeding. I nursed my son for 2.5 years, and it just seemed appropriate to write about it. And I have multiple poems about it, but this is the only like Spanish only poem. So I wrote it in Spanish first, because I just thought, you know, I need to get over this feeling self-conscious about my Spanish. And so I did that, and then I did the English translation. And because my mom was so instrumental in the process of breastfeeding and growing up, you know, she really worked hard for us to keep our Spanish and to not lose it. And so it just made more sense to write it in Spanish first anyway, because of that. And because Spanish is my first language. And so when I think of Spanish, when I speak it, I feel like it's family. It's my family's language. So, but all of that said, I had never performed it. And I've read it like poetry readings before, but I've always felt self-conscious about really trying to get more into it and afraid of seeming too dramatic or whatever. And so Summer, I'm so grateful to you for giving me the opportunity to really like, just do, you know, you would tell me during rehearsals, like, just, I'll tell you if it's too much, but just go for it. And so I really felt comfortable, and it really helped knowing that it was paired with such a beautiful dance that just expressed everything in movement that I had in my words. Knowing that that was going to be showcased allowed me to also feel less self-conscious and really just go for it, because I knew that people weren't going to be seeing me. But yeah, so thank you again, Naja and Anna. It was absolutely gorgeous.
Yes, amazing. And Naja and Anna, please tell us a little bit about your process, just how you put everything together was so beautiful, and all the different images. Tell us a little bit. And also, since we are talking about the Spanish aspect, like what was that like really taking that, because you had a translation, but you are choreographing to the Spanish. So what was that like?
So first of all, thank you so much. And it was such a beautiful poem. So we, first of all, listened to the poem so many times, just to make sure we were understanding cadence. We read the translation, and it actually sparked a lot of interesting conversations between us about our own mothers. And we aren't mothers, but we got a lot of imagery from watching the poem. From listening to the poem, excuse me. And so we came up with images around like the peeling of an orange, that sensuality, that roundness, and also
nutrition from it.
Right. And nurture. And then also we thought a lot about milk and like that quality and that texture and that imagery. And
yeah. So then we did like, so then with the translation aspect of it, we dissected each like line. I'm not sure how well you can see on here. No, but each line is like highlighted with like what sort of emotion we wanted from it, and movement or image to kind of make sure that we were in some way matching up. And then we double checked it with a friend of mine who speaks Spanish. And so I showed her the video to make sure it kind of matched with the lines that were going on. And she helped me out. And she was like, yeah, there was like a moment that you made a heart and it matched with this. And then like the fifth, there was like a lot of like tension in this moment. You see like the fifth with the oranges. And so that's how like we want to make sure that we were doing justice to your words and emotions with them. So yeah, it was
really fun and taught us a lot.
Yeah.
I'll also just add that dance on film versus dancing live, it has so many different benefits and also drawbacks. Like, for example, when you can rewatch something that you've done so many times, you can go down a big wormhole of trying to correct it, or, so you know what I mean, everybody? When you're constantly combing your own work, you can go down that path. But then a benefit to the virtual world is that you can like express more, and we can play with editing more and bring a lot of our ideas to life that we would otherwise have to have as props or as background. So it just taught us a lot about the possibilities of technology and art, and was a really fun experience.
Thank you so much for sharing that, both of you. I do want to ask, I know we asked Daniela about like writing her piece and really like bringing out how that changed how she processes her emotion. But I wanted Rescue Poetics and Duana to tell us what that was like for them as well, processing, like being in touch with, you know, being angry, being sad, giving yourself permission to feel those things.
I'll go first. So we're experiencing a lot of different emotions because of the circumstances that are happening. And that piece, I think, triggered the ability to allow myself to feel anger, to, as Summer would say, feels good to yell. And it felt good to express those things that, you know, we're trying to keep up and trying to keep happy. But the reality is this. Yes, I'm angry. Yes, it's irritating. I don't want to hear the hate speech anymore. And it's, you know, we're not lemmings, we're humans. Treat us like humans. And then it's the whole other perspective of the ones who don't pay attention to what's really happening, and just with their rose-colored glasses, and they just keep rah, rah, rah. And it's just, and I want to thank Daniela for writing the piece, and thank you, Summer, for inviting me to participate in this piece. And I think it's brought us all together that much closer also, because we're all strong women, and we're expected to be strong, and we're expected to toe the line, as it were. And this gave us the opportunity to let that line loose for a little while.
So I didn't want sadness because I am the light.
But you do it so well. You do it so well.
I am the sunshine. However, the sun is not shining around us. There's nothing bright and cheery going on. The bright and cheery is coming from all of these women, all of the people that are watching, all of the people who we intermingle with and talk to and get our spirits filled on a daily basis. We are the light, because we cannot look any place else for the light. We cannot look for the government. We cannot look to our leaders. We cannot look there. So to answer the question, I just went off a little bit because I didn't want sadness. But I was like, God, dog it, man. Okay, how am I going to do this? And then I started reading the words. And when you have to invoke the emotion of what the words are actually, you feel them. And I get it. It's like, yeah, we're back here again. Like there is sadness around me. So I did what I needed to do. I took a couple of situations personally that I had, because the actual situation that's going on right now with our not situation, but our the place that we are in with government, with changing, with Proud Boys, with this, with that, that doesn't make me sad. That pisses me the fuck off. So I couldn't use that. So I channeled some other things in, and I used the words to help me, and I reflected the words upon myself. The piece was beautiful because it almost sounded like there was no hope, and then the hope came, and then there was hope, and it's like, oh, yeah, but the hope was the end. Like, we can change. We will do it. This will happen. We can't be the same people that we were. So we have to be different. And Daniela, blessings to you. This piece was wonderfully orchestrated and beautifully written.
Thank you both. And so I know there's so many, I recognize so many of the names in the attendees list, and there's many that I don't know, so I'm really happy to meet all of you. But I do know that there's quite a few artists and creators in the room right now. So I wanted to ask Crystal, our assistant TD, because she is a visual artist, she is a poet, and she's in her word zine. She's performing for us soon, but she has been she's been in the tech booth for this show. But I wanted to know, you can be the spokesperson for all creative people watching this. You know, how do you feel as an artist hearing these stories, watching them play out? How do you think that would inform your own artistry and how you share your story?
Well, the first thing I want to say is I'm so grateful to have been a part of listening to your stories, but also to help curate them, because just seeing them all come to life, it's been absolutely beautiful. So what I do want to say is, first off, you guys all made me emotional. So I didn't necessarily come into the room like, okay, I'm going to be emotional today, but getting a chance to hear stories from women that I have met and women that I haven't met before really just, it put me on a different wavelength. And it made me want to be more patient with my own work. And especially since I'm consistently changing, and we all are. So it's really made me want to take a step back in some sorts of an aspect of just taking my time and really allowing myself to feel things that I would have in the past just like chosen to, like, you know, put away, or just like, okay, let me just, you know, I'm feeling upset about this, but I'm just gonna find something else to cover it up. So this is definitely, and especially like from the virtual aspect, this was really truly like being back in a black box theater, and it was just, it's just been so wonderful. So I think, yeah, I just wanted to say congratulations to everybody that is a part of this, both tonight and tomorrow. And thank you to all of our viewers too, because this show wouldn't have been anything without our cast, crew and the attendees that are here today. So you guys all made it come together.
Absolutely. And thank you for bringing up that, we did have another show tomorrow. It's all, I hear some weird audio. I don't know what's playing. Okay. So we do have another show tomorrow. It's all news stories. So if you loved this show, please come back. Please experience more stories with us. If you can't make it tomorrow, if you buy a ticket, you will get a recording afterwards. I also know that some people said they came in late and missed someone that they wanted to see. You will get a recording of this I was going to say episode, this performance as well. Next time on Info Color 2020. But we will have some amazing shows. So also tell all your friends, be like, yo, it was so dope. Like, you need to watch this. Exactly like that. To close out, my favorite question to always close out an evening, a talk back with everyone is if you could have one wish for women in general, what would it be? And let's go in order of how we went. Let's go in the running order. Sorry, Grisel. All right, Grisel, you were up.
A matriarchy, basically. Yeah, I would like to, we've had men running things for a very long time all over the world. And we know that matriarchies have existed before. So let's get back to that. Let's see how that works for a while.
Sorry, have you seen Money Heist or La Casa de Papel? It's on Netflix. It is so good, but there's a character, I don't know if anyone knows what I'm talking about. There's a character, Nairobi, and she does some badass stuff, and she says, "Empieza el matriarcado." Really, like, it's so good. You just need to watch that. You're very Nairobi vibes.
All right.
Cool. I guess Eloísa?
Yep. What do I wish for women? I guess the word that first came to me when you asked that was just freedom. In just so many different ways. Obviously in some parts of the world that means something, and in other parts of the world that means something else. But for freedom for all women to be themselves, to make the choices that they want to make, and to be supported in those choices.
Beautiful. Naja and Anna.
Yeah, the same thing came to mind, Eloísa. I thought of total liberation. I mean, I wish that all women knew that they are completely whole without anybody else. No matter how they feel, that their feelings are valid, that they should never feel pressure to conform to society standards, beauty standards, standards for partnership, sex, love, any of it.
For me, I was gonna say this conversation has been such a important conversation for me. Been thinking lately, like, way too much about what it means to be a woman, and a strong woman. So yeah, my wish is for every woman to really know their strength and believe in their strength and voice, and know that they're going to be okay when you trust yourself. You get to be yourself, and that's freedom in a way. Yeah, women are the strongest people in this world. We're lucky to be women and supporting each other. So thank you for sharing your stories.
Beautiful. Chau sa.
I feel like we're all right in the same theme here. I would, just to echo everyone else, like, for women to own their power, to step into their power if they haven't yet, to accept fully who they're meant to be and not be afraid of being who they're meant to be or who they want to be, and self-love, a lot of self-love.
Beautiful. Dena.
I wish for women to always be believed the first time. I think it's very painful and it's very difficult to be of a body and in a body that's not always trusted. And I think women especially like have to navigate that constantly. And yeah, that's what I really want.
Thank you, Glennifer.
World domination. No, I'm just kidding.
You don't have to kid. We're clearly riding this revolution theme right now. If you want to donate to our political coup, please Venmo us in Full Color US.
Period. No, no seriousness. What I wish for women, that goes for cisgender women, that goes for trans women, that goes for all women of color, that goes for Black, Indigenous women of color, even disabled women of color, women who are, women who are lawyers, women who are sex workers, women who are not working at all, women of all positions, all occupations, everyone in all walks of life and all intersections of life. What I wish for all women is to, no matter who you are, no matter what you are, and no matter like what energy you have, no matter what is your life mission in this world, no matter what you are, be in it, stand in all shades. And I promise you, whatever you believe in, any spirit or any religion or not, you will be endowed. You are endowed. Whoever is protecting you, whatever is in your gut, or whatever is in the higher power. And world domination.
Yes. All of it, including the world domination. Let's do Daniela and then Duana and then, oh wait, sorry, no. Let's just do the order it was in Daniela's piece. That makes sense. And then we'll end with Crystal. Crystal, you won't take us home. So Daniela.
Everything you said and more. Usually my fight is a bit more, I wish women would stop being told that they are how they look. The amount they see on the scale, the size of their jeans, if they look beautiful or not, if they are attractive or not, if they are fuckable or not. I wish women were allowed to discover their bodies and how powerful they are and how amazing they are without having to fit into any mold, into any norm. And I wish that to stop being something that you inherit from your mother, from your grandmother, from the women before them, because that's how they learned it, and that's how they learned to exist in this world. And I wish for that to stop happening and to stop making us want to be little and to fit into something that is ridiculous, because everybody is different and we cannot all be one size and one shape. And that is so damaging, especially for little girls and for young teens. That's what I wish. So basically freedom as well.
Thank you, Daniela. The rescue.
So 5 words, I'm going to start off with 5 words, and I'm stealing this from Glennifer. Can I have my process? That's what I wish for all women. This, what we have here, this process that we went through, getting to know one another, getting to work together, getting to collaborate without the sense of being told that we have to compete with one another. This makes us stronger together, learning from each other, being mentors to one another, and then taking our stories and being mentors to others. That's what I wish for all women.
Thank you. Every year when we do this, everyone says such deep, meaningful stuff. And frankly, I spent all of my time on this company doing deep, meaningful stuff. So I always like to use my time to wish for things that are maybe more superficial, but really are quite important and that we forget to wish for all the time. Money and orgasms. There we go. Duana's like, yeah! After the world domination, I'm sure it'll happen. Duana, you next.
Jesus! Yes, Summer! That, you know what? Whatever I have to say now doesn't even matter.
It matters.
I too was going to say something monetarily, that we should have equal or even more pay than our counterparts, because we do more. We can have babies and no one else can. I wish for the greatest health for women, and that our pregnant women stop dying going through childbirth. I wish that they would take the time to look and listen, and that the women who are unable to afford the greatest health care can stay alive as well, so that people treat them properly. I wish that people stop disrespecting Black women because they're Black, and putting them into a category because their voice elevates, or because they speak with an expression, or because their English or vernacular is different than yours. I wish that Kamala could have cursed out Pence yesterday, and nobody called her an angry Black woman and then said she's not fit to be the president of the United States. Because let me tell you, she was holding that shit back. Okay? Let me tell you how she held it back. So I wish that people wouldn't classify us and put us in a box. And so that we don't have to smile and be polite and be friendly when we do not want to be. I wish that all those standards would shatter upon us, and nobody held us to the double standard. That's what I wish.
Amazing.
So before summer closes it all out, everyone, if you could please turn your mics on, take yourselves off mute, and let's give Summer a huge round of applause.
Jump. Summer dawn.
Because Summer will give accolades to everyone but herself. And we all know behind the scenes how many hours, how much time, what she has to go through to create what you see before you. And it's always better. She's always leveling up, and she's always exceeding her own expectations. So thank you, Summer. I just want to say thank you.
We love you, Summer Dawn.
Thank
Yes,
you.
we do.
Love you. I love all of you so much. Thank you. That's really sweet. It's so sweet. So take us home, Crystal. What's your wish?
My wish is for women is to overcome fear. So, and this goes back to what you said, Summer, fear of like having the most exhilarating and amazing time no matter where you go, as well as the most exhilarating orgasm, but also to laugh and to smile when even like Daniela said, at the little thing, like with your dog's tail wagging or your cat purring, just to be happy in the space that you're in and the body that you're in, and to accept yourself, and just to be loved and to have unconditional love. That's what I wish for women. And I'm so grateful again to be surrounded by all of you. Thank you so much for tonight.
That's a beautiful note to end on. Thank you again to everyone who is part of this. Thank you to all of our performers and writers. And thank you to everyone who has supported them, whether or not you're attending today, or whether you're, Naja and Anna Spanish speaking friend who's just like, Yeah, she's saying boobs. That's what she's saying on that line, you know. Everyone who's there for us and who listens to us saying the same words over and over and over again for hours in our homes, who lets us hang random stuff up on walls and lets us boot them off the Wi-Fi. We all love you, and all of your work is appreciated too. I hope to see everyone in tomorrow's show. I know we're a little over time, but I'm really grateful for every single minute we spent together. Thank you, everyone, so much, and have a wonderful night. Bye, everyone.